Sam and Mary, we're back
Hello.
again.
Yes.
And you're married.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
That's going to be interesting.
Yes. After all that, after all we heard, big mess you two got into, right?
Miracles do happen.
Yes. And then, how did you manage? Because people are curious now. You know,
I am curious.
Yes, two sets of baggage. No, two very messy baggage, right?
Yes.
Upside down. Like someone who traveled the whole world with one set of suitcase, and you know, went everywhere. Clothes are all messed up inside. So how did you manage to even get married?
First of all, how long have you been married?
Going on to 5 years now, isn't it? The
Five
fifth year.
years.
Yes.
5 years, yeah.
So where there's a will, there's a way. You know, like I said before previously, when my son came into the world, that was the time that I seriously took stock of my life, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change. You know, even if not just for myself, but for him. And I think that was the driving force, the initial driving force to get me going, because I believed in myself. I knew that given the opportunity and a chance to make something of my life, I can make it happen. I just needed something. I think that was the wake-up call. I stayed off relationships for 7 years, you know, before I met my wife, now Mary. And
7 years.
7 years. And
7 years.
7 years.
How on earth did you manage? Because you move from one to another.
Because I wanted to do what is right. I sincerely, deep inside of myself, wanted to do what is right, and I believed I could do. You know, I knew if I dealt with the issues within, then I could make it go right.
And how did you deal? How this change happened inside?
I found faith, you know, and that gave me the strength. That gave me the strength for me to start analyzing first, to have the courage that I've not had for all these years of my life, because I was a coward then, to start facing up to the issues that the issues that I had inside of myself, you know, and to slowly start overcoming. And that's why it took 7 years, because you don't change overnight. I really had to take stock of who I was. I knew that anybody can change. You know, if this person is able to do this, I always thought this way, if somebody's able to do that, I could do it also. Just find out how they done it and what, you know, and for me to apply myself, giving myself time, patience, and persevere. So, you know, I knew that one of the things I needed to change was to change my character, to become somebody faithful, you know. So I started working on myself for me to establish myself as a happy person, because all my life I haven't been happy, you know. So I started taking care of myself, you know, started looking at the things that were inside of me that needed to literally come out so that I can find who I was. You know, I will always think back to when I was a child. Yes, my mom was there. I was free, you know, lucky go happy person, if you can say that. At peace all the time, jovial, happy. So I needed to find that person, that Samuel again, you know. So I had to sacrifice my own bad ways and start doing the things that I knew that I can do. Being faithful, being courteous, being polite, being honest, being sincere, being truthful to myself and to those around me, to my family members. And when I start seeing that, you know what, it's still in me. I can still change. Gradually, I start, you know, turning things around for myself. And when I start seeing these positive changes, that gave me the boost. That empowered me to say, you know what, I can actually change.
And where did you get all these inspirations from? Where did you see these people that you could relate to in a positive way? Because you didn't have those role models back in the days, but now you're seeing, relating to this kind of people.
Yes, I started attending a seminar called Love Therapy, and it's just literally a therapeutical seminar for people looking for the way to be happy in a love life. And of course, in my track record, I needed something, and that was the glimmer of hope that I found, in a sense that it was very down to earth. It was real talk. There was no nonsense. It was truthful. You know, many of the messages in the seminars were very hard hitting. You know, it was hard hitting, sometimes borderline rude, but I knew that I needed it. I needed to hear that, because I've never heard from anybody. You know, I never heard from my dad, my mom, my siblings. I needed to hear that. That was a shocking truth that I needed to wake me up to say, no, what you're doing is wrong. You know, you need to change, fix up. You're a man, you have a son. What are you doing? You know, buck up your ideas. Start changing. You can do it. I saw testimonies, examples, and at long last, like you mentioned, I can now see role models. I can now see, couples who were making it. There were people also from my background as well, who had been through a pretty, a horrendous situation that had overcome it. So that gave me the encouragement that, you know what, you can change. Just do what they're doing.
When couples come to us, to the show, two things that they have in common, usually I find very similar whenever they say they decided to change. They had to stop doing certain things and start doing certain things. Tell us things that you had to stop doing so you could start doing differently.
I was radical because I was fed up. I was fed up. I deleted all the telephone numbers in my phone book with regards to girlfriends, stopped clubbing, stopped going out raving. I had to cut certain friends off who I knew were bad influences. Not that they were bad people, but the environment wasn't good for what I wanted. Those things I had to drop. These were the external things I had to change quickly. In terms of myself, start being faithful, start being honest. Even for my things that I needed to do with, like at work, be honest, be sincere, be faithful. So I started building my character in the right way. Just change my mindset, Things I knew were wrong.
So before meeting Mary, you met yourself.
I met myself.
Because you were lost within.
I was lost within myself. Right. That's the right term to use. I was lost within myself. I knew I was there, I knew I was there, but I couldn't find myself until I had to let go of all these negative baggages.
We are always talking about this, the importance of focusing on oneself first. That's what exactly Samuel did. We are always hit on the same key here. People may think that we're like parrots, repeating ourselves, intelligent love. It's yourself first. It's easier said than done. It's very simple to talk about it, very easy to understand, but to put into practice, it demands a lot of determination, self-denial, sacrifice. And that's what he did. He recognized the changes he needed to apply to himself. And until a person realizes that he or she needs to apply those changes first, before even looking for somebody else, before even worrying about a relationship, realizing, like for example, in his case, he was so messed up. And for a while, he still thought that, you know what, no, but next relationship will fix it. Or it's not me, it's them. Or maybe it happens to everybody, I'm not the only one. By the way, look around. Look at my family, people in my family. It seems like the norm. But he kept hurting himself, hurting others, getting to a much deeper mess. Until the day he realized, no, wait a minute, I have to pause. Not even pause, stop. Stop, because pausing is like you're playing again.
Just pause and then continue what you're doing. Yeah.
So I have to stop and start all over again.
That's the first step for any change. Because sometimes, you've made a mess of things, or you look at your history of relationships, the things that went wrong, and you say, my goodness, I could never make it work. Everything is so wrong. The first thing that you need to realize is that perhaps, most likely, the problem is not in the relationships themselves, in the people that you were with. But if everything's going wrong for you all the time, you've had different stages of your life, different people, different relationships, and still they got messed up, you have to think, wait a minute, perhaps I need to change. So the first step is to realize that perhaps the problem is with you or within you, and that needs to be looked at first.
It's so simple when it comes to school, for example. You're trying to get you're doing a math homework, equation, chemistry, you name it, physics, and you're not getting the right result. What do? It's the teacher's fault. This book is not good, I have to get another book. Nobody does that. Or it's the school. No, you're gonna stop and think all over again, and erase everything that you just wrote down, and start again, and again, and again. And if it doesn't work, you're gonna have to look for the teacher and say, hey, I'm not getting it right, could you please help me? That's why, by the way, we are here. That's why we are here, once a week on YouTube, on my TV, helping people, on our seminars, helping people somehow get there. Because it comes to a point where you need to do that. You have to stop, as you said, and say, hold on a second, it's not working. It's not working. Maybe it's me. It's something in me that needs to change. So you have to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. Simple. That's what we do in school. That's what we do with any subject in school. Why can't people do that when it comes to love life?
It's because they think that, different from math, love has many, it's a mystery. It's difficult to find. Lucky are those who find true love in this life. It's just like maths. You can't change mathematics. The result will always be the same. You just need to find a way to get to that result. And that formula, when it comes to love, is intelligent love. But people, they think that, it has to do with luck, it has to do with external circumstances, it has to do with the place, and it's not. That's right.
But before we move on, before I say what I have to say, let's continue watching Samuel and Mary's story. How about you, Mary?
For me, so like I mentioned before, from the abortion, I decided that's it. I'm not going to enter into another relationship until there's a more concrete hope of success. So I went through life focusing on my career. Then it was actually a friend of mine that invited me to the love therapy seminar. And it was there that I learned what love was all about. And my kind of fairy tale idea of meeting someone, being happily married and everything being gravy, I had the reality check. And I realized in those seminars that I had a lot to work on myself. It was actually give and take, not just, take of the other person. So I learned to work on my inner self, so my insecurities, my trust issues. Not only just thinking about it, but really delving deep to find the roots of why I was the way I was, in order to then uncover those things which I would lock away and deal with them. I was able to speak to people there that were, helpful, and also just to, I had a different mindset. It really changed my mindset and my outlook towards love, that there was actually hope out there, that I wasn't a lost cause. But there were certain things that I had to stop doing. So like my husband deleted all these numbers. I didn't have lots of men's numbers. It was really more about my perceptions and my thoughts.
In your mind?
In my mind, yeah. To actually, first of all, believe that I could be happy in love. To stop thinking about my past. I would bring my past into my present a lot of the times, and that was a massive failure for me. So I was able to overcome my past and leave the past in the past. Now I'm on a new journey, I'm on a new road. So the seminars really helped me to kind of focus my attention and not allow the baggage from my past to come into my present relationships. And also just to enjoy being loved and loving someone, not just for the external, but the internal. I learned about values, I learned about morals, I learned about compatibility, all of these things before. I didn't even consider the person's culture, likes, dislikes, goals, ambitions. So my mindset really started to change, and I became more mature and sensible, and actually started to enjoy the changes that I was seeing within me. Whereas before, I kind of just, bottled everything inside. But I was able to I found the faith, I found the faith within me as well. And just to address those issues, open up, overcome them, and then, I felt comfortable with who I was. I felt like I was worthy of love. Whereas before, I felt like I was very needy. So I overcome that kind of neediness and just was happy to wake up in the morning, go about my day to day and not worry about, I need to have someone by my side, I began to actually love myself for who I was. And as I started to love myself for who I was, I felt like I enjoyed life more, and I didn't worry about when Mr. Right would come. I had faith that he would come at the right time. So that's how I was able to turn the situations around until he turned up.
I have a question, direct. When you had your first date, who paid? Yeah, because you wouldn't, right?
I wouldn't allow people. No, I would always be the one to take up my card. And this was part of the change that I saw, because we went to Nando's for our first date, funny enough. And then when he offered to pay, I was comfortable with it.
Good.
I was all right. I was like, yeah.
I was none the wiser, but
So the changes happened individually,
Yes.
right? And obviously now the relationship is doing great, isn't it?
Yes.
How
Very
is it
well.
being married to each other?
Excellent.
great. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, having gone through, I think what we've been through, I think the determination in actually making it work is something that's, you know, making us keep sacrificing to make it work. Because we've been through horrible past.
Yeah.
I think that drives
I mean,
us.
we get an idea, right? An idea, a glimpse of what you went through, based on what we heard in the previous shows. But obviously, I mean, that gives us an idea what you went through. But only you know what you went through, right?
Yes.
We're going to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to develop a bit more on Samuel and Mary's story. Okay? Don't go anywhere.